was only 8 years old when she walked through the silver halls of Station Orion for the first time. Her small hand held tightly onto her father's fingers. Her eyes were wide with wonder. The space station was bigger than anything she had ever seen. Lights of different colors floated in the air. Strange aliens walked past them. Some had 4 arms. Some had scales. Some looked like they were made of smoke. Her father was the human ambassador to the Galaxy Council. He had brought with him because her mother had died 2 years ago. He could not leave her alone on Earth. She was all he had left in this universe. "Look," pointed at a creature that looked like a giant blue jellyfish floating through the corridor. "It's so pretty." Smiled down at his daughter. Her happiness made all the stress of his job feel small. "Yes, it is. They communicate through light." Noticed the little human girl staring at it. It changed colors, soft pink, then gentle yellow, laughed and clapped her hands. This was supposed to be a simple visit, had to attend a council meeting about trade routes. It was boring political work, nothing dangerous. The Galaxy Council had existed for 10,000 years. It brought together 500 species from across the stars. Humans had joined only 50 years ago. They were considered young, weak, unimportant, and reached their quarters. The room had a large window that showed the stars outside. Pressed her face against the glass. "Can I explore?" she asked. "Just the safe areas, please." Hesitated. The station had designated areas for civilians and families. Security guards walked everywhere. It should be safe. "Stay only in the blue zones," he said, "and keep your communicator on. I will be back in 3 hours." Hugged him tightly. "I promise." Watched her run off toward the observation deck. His heart felt warm. She was growing up so fast. The council meeting was long and boring, just as expected. Representatives from dozens of species argued about shipping fees and border disputes. Sat in the human section, which was small and placed in the back. Nobody asked for his opinion. Nobody cared what humans thought. 2 hours into the meeting, an alarm suddenly rang through the station. Red lights flashed. A cold voice spoke through the speakers. "Security breach in Sector 7. All personnel prepare for containment protocol." His blood went cold. Sector 7 contained the observation deck. He stood up immediately. "What is happening?" High Counselor, a tall creature with gray skin and 6 eyes, raised one of his 4 hands. "Sit down, human. This does not concern you. A small pest creature was detected. Our guards will handle it." "My daughter is in that sector." 6 eyes blinked slowly. "Then she should stay still and wait. Our guards are very efficient." Did not wait. He ran out of the council chamber. Behind him, he heard say something about emotional humans, and laughter followed. The corridors were chaos. Aliens ran in every direction. Pushed through them, his heart beating so hard he could feel it in his throat. He tried calling on his communicator. No answer. He tried again. Nothing. When he reached Sector 7, guards blocked the entrance. They were soldiers, big, armored creatures with weapons that could cut through steel. "No entry," one guard said. "Containment in progress." "My daughter is in there," shouted. "She's just a child." "No entry." Tried to push past them. 2 guards grabbed him and threw him to the ground. He hit the metal floor hard. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he got up and tried again. This time they hit him with an electric stick. His body shook and he fell. Through the glass doors he could see the observation deck. Smoke filled the air. He could see small fires, and he could see the guards inside shooting at something. Then he saw her. Was running. Her small legs carried her as fast as they could. She was crying. Behind her, a guard raised his weapon. "No," screamed. He slammed his fists against the glass. "She's human. She's just a child. Stop." The guard fired. The blast hit in the back. Her small body flew forward and hit the ground. She did not move again. Felt something break inside him. Not his bones, something deeper, something that could never be fixed. The guards finally opened the doors. They walked past like he was invisible. One of them spoke into a communicator, pest eliminated, some collateral damage, one human child, unimportant. Crawled to his daughter's body. He gathered her in his arms. She was so light, so small. Her eyes were still open, but they saw nothing. Her hand still held the small toy she had brought from Earth, a little stuffed tiger her mother had given her. He held her for a long time. Guards walked around him. Some aliens looked at him with curiosity. Others looked away. None of them helped. None of them cared. Hours later, High Counselor came to see him. The tall gray alien looked down at and the small body in his arms. "A unfortunate accident," said. His voice had no emotion. The guards detected movement and responded. "Your child should not have been running. She caused confusion." Looked up, his eyes were red from crying. "You killed my daughter." We maintained security. One human child is not significant in the larger picture. The Council will send official regrets to your planet. Now please remove yourself and the body. You are making the area unclean. Walked away. Stayed on the floor, holding. He whispered to her softly. He told her about Earth, about the mountains she loved, about the ocean she always wanted to visit, about how much her mother would have loved to see her grow up. Around him, Station Orion continued its normal operations. Ships came and went. Aliens laughed and talked. Business continued as usual. Nobody knew that in that moment, holding his dead child made a decision. He would bring home, and then he would make the galaxy remember why ancient humans had once been feared. He would remind them why Earth had hidden its true power. He would show them what happens when you hurt a human child. The Council thought humans were weak. They thought humans were young. They were wrong. And soon they would learn their mistake. 3 days passed after his death. Did not sleep. He did not eat. He sat in his quarters on Station Orion, staring at the stars through the window. His body lay in a cold storage room, waiting to be sent back to Earth. The Council had not even given him a proper place to keep her. His communicator had been ringing constantly. Messages from Earth, messages from the human government, messages from military leaders. Everyone wanted to know what had happened. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next. Finally answered one call. It was from General, the commander of Earth's defense forces. "Ambassador's voice was calm but heavy. "We have received your report. The President and the Global Council have read it. Everyone has read it." And's voice was empty, hollow. "We are waiting for your decision. You are there. You know the situation. What do you want us to do?" Thought about her laugh, her smile, the way she called him with so much love. "Give me one more day," he said. "I will address the Council tomorrow. After that you will have your answer." The next day put on his formal ambassador uniform. It was black with silver edges. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked older than before. His eyes had changed. The warmth was gone. He walked through Station Orion toward the great chamber where the Galaxy Council held its meetings. Aliens of all kinds moved through the corridors. Some looked at him with pity. Others whispered to each other. News had spread about the human child's death. Most species found it amusing. A human crying over one small child. How emotional, how primitive. The great chamber was enormous. It could hold thousands of representatives. Seats rose up in circles around a central platform. Each species had its own section. The most powerful species sat closest to the center. Humans sat far in the back near the exit. High Counselor sat on the highest chair, looking down at everyone like a king watching insects. Did not go to the human section. Instead, he walked directly to the center platform. Whispers spread through the chamber. This was against protocol. Only speakers approved by the Council could stand there. "Human's voice echoed through the room. "Return to your seat. You have not been given permission to speak." Kept walking until he stood in the exact center of the platform. He looked up at Then he looked around at all the representatives. Hundreds of species, thousands of eyes, all watching him. "My name is," he said. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. "I am the ambassador of Earth. 3 days ago, your guards killed my daughter. Her name was, she was 8 years old." Made a sound that was close to a laugh. "We have already discussed this matter. It was an accident during a security operation. The Council has sent official regrets to your planet. The matter is closed." "The matter is not closed." Silence fell over the chamber. No one spoke to the High Counselor like that, not even representatives from the most powerful species. Six eyes narrowed. "Careful, human, your species is young. You exist in this council because we allow it. Do not forget your place." Reached into his pocket. Every guard in the room raised their weapons, but only pulled out a small photograph. He held it up so everyone could see. "This was my daughter. She loved animals. She loved the ocean. She wanted to be a teacher when she grew up. She was kind to everyone she met. She had her mother's smile." He placed the photograph on the floor in front of him. "Your guards shot her in the back while she was running. She was scared. She was alone. And she died because your people saw a human child and decided she was not important enough to protect." "This is wasting the Council's time," a representative from the Empire spoke. "They were the same species as the guards who had killed. Humans breed quickly. Make another child. Problem solved." Laughter spread through the chamber. Many species found this very funny. Waited for the laughter to stop. When silence returned, he spoke again. "I came here today to give you a warning. Not a request, not a negotiation, a warning." Leaned forward. "You, warn us. Your species has existed in space for only 50 years. We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000. You have a small fleet of simple ships. We have millions of warships. What could you possibly warn us about? Return my daughter's body to me with full honors. Identify and surrender every guard involved in her death. Issue a formal apology to Earth from the entire Council. You have 7 days." The chamber exploded with noise. Representatives shouted. Some laughed. Some banged their hands on their seats. The idea of humans making demands was the most ridiculous thing they had ever heard. Raised his hand, and silence fell again. He looked at with what might have been amusement. "And if we refuse, what will you do, human? Attack us? Your entire fleet could not scratch the surface of one of our stations. Your weapons are toys, your soldiers are soft. You are nothing." Picked up the photograph from the floor. He looked at it for a long moment. Then he looked back at. 50 years ago, when humans first came to the stars, we told you we were new. We told you we were peaceful. We told you we just wanted to join the galactic community. That was not entirely true." The chamber grew quiet. Something in his voice had changed. It was no longer empty. It was cold, hard, dangerous. "Humans have been traveling among the stars for a very long time, longer than most of you can imagine. We built empires when your ancestors were still learning to use fire. We fought wars that destroyed entire solar systems. We did things that we became ashamed of." Shifted in his seat. "What are you talking about?" "We retired. We chose to forget. We hid our history and our weapons. We went home to Earth and decided to start over, to be peaceful, to be kind. When we came back to the stars, we pretended to be young because we wanted a fresh start. We did not want to be what we once were." Stepped closer to the High Counselor's seat. "But we never destroyed our old weapons. We never dismantled our ancient fleet. We only hid them, deep beneath our oceans, inside our moons, buried under our mountains, waiting." "You are lying," said, but his voice was not as confident as before. 7 days, repeated. "Return my daughter with honors. Surrender the guards. Apologize to Earth. Or we will show you why ancient species still whisper about the humans in their oldest stories. We will remind the galaxy what we really are." He turned and walked toward the exit. Every eye in the chamber followed him. Just before he left, he stopped and spoke one last time without turning around. "My daughter was innocent. She was kind. She wanted to make friends with aliens, and you killed her like she was nothing. If you do not give us justice, we will take it ourselves. And we will not stop until every species that laughed at her death understands the price of harming a human child." Then he walked out, leaving behind a chamber full of confused and worried faces. 7 days, the countdown had begun. 6 days passed. The Galaxy Council did nothing. They laughed its warning. They called humans crazy. They made jokes about the ancient fleet that did not exist. News channels across the galaxy showed comedy shows making fun of Earth. Humans were the joke of the universe. On Earth, returned home with his body. She was buried next to her mother in a small cemetery near the mountain she loved. Thousands of people came to the funeral. Millions more watched on screens. The whole planet knew what had happened to the little girl who just wanted to see the stars. After the funeral, traveled to a secret military base hidden deep underground. He was met by General and Commander, two of the highest-ranking officers in Earth's defense forces. Was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had served in the military for 40 years. He knew secrets that most humans would never learn, was younger with sharp eyes and a quick mind. She commanded Earth's space fleet, the small, weak fleet that the galaxy laughed at. "The Council has not responded," said as they walked through long metal corridors. "We have 1 day left. They think we are bluffing." "Are we?" asked. Looked at her. "My daughter is dead. Do you think I am bluffing?" They reached a massive door made of black metal. It was covered in symbols, strange writing that looked nothing like modern human language. This door had been sealed for over 2,000 years. Placed his hand on a scanner. Then he spoke words in an ancient language. The door made a deep sound and slowly opened. Behind the door was the largest room any of them had ever seen. It stretched for kilometers in every direction, and inside it were ships. Thousands of ships, tens of thousands. They were black and silver, covered in the same strange symbols as the door. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Each one was bigger than anything the Galaxy Council had ever built. "The ancient fleet," said quietly. "Humanity's true military power, hidden since we decided to become peaceful, waiting for a day we hoped would never come." Walked forward slowly. Her eyes were wide. She had heard stories about the ancient fleet her whole life. She thought they were just legends. Now she was standing in front of them. "These ships, they're older than most alien civilizations." "Yes," nodded. 20,000 years ago, humans ruled this galaxy. We were powerful beyond anything that exists today, but power made us cruel. We did terrible things. Eventually, our ancestors decided that we had become monsters. They chose to stop. They hid the fleet, erased our history, and started over on Earth. They wanted future humans to be better. "And we were," said softly. "For a long time we were better. We became kind, peaceful. We forgot what we were, but they," his voice grew hard, "they reminded me." At the center of the massive room was a control platform. Walked toward it with and following. On the platform was a single chair made of the same black metal as the ships. Above the chair was a screen showing Earth from space. "This is the command seat," explained. "Only someone with direct bloodline connection to the old empire can activate the fleet. Ambassador, your family line goes back to the last emperor. That is why we asked you to become ambassador. We hoped we would never need you for this." Sat in the chair. It felt cold at first, but then it began to warm. Lights appeared around him. The ships in the room started to hum. "The fleet requires a command," said. "What are your orders?" Closed his eyes. He thought about her smile, her dreams, the way she held that little stuffed tiger even as she died. He thought about the council laughing. He thought about its cold 6 eyes. He thought about the guards who shot a child in the back. He opened his eyes. "Wake them all." The room exploded with light. The hum became a roar. One by one, the ancient ships came to life. Their engines glowed with energy that modern science could not explain. Their weapons systems activated. Screens turned on showing battle readiness. But this room was only one part of the fleet. Across Earth, similar rooms existed. Under the Pacific Ocean, inside the hollow center of the moon, hidden in asteroids throughout the solar system, all of them received the same command. Around the world, the ocean began to move. Massive shapes rose from the depths. Ships the size of cities broke through the surface, water falling from their hulls like waterfalls. Fishermen on boats stared in shock. Coastal cities watched in amazement as hundreds of ships rose into the sky. On the moon, the surface cracked and opened. More ships emerged, ancient and powerful. They had waited in darkness for, now they flew again. Across the solar system, the same thing happened. The ancient fleet awakened. Over 50,000 warships, each one more powerful than 100 modern ships combined. News spread across the galaxy instantly. Alien telescopes saw what was happening in the human solar system. They could not believe it. They thought their equipment was broken. They ran tests again and again, but the readings were real. At Station Orion, High Counselor received emergency reports from every intelligence agency in the Council. "What is this?" he demanded, looking at the images on his screen. "Where did these ships come from?" They appear to be emerging from inside Earth itself," an aide answered, his voice shaking. "Our sensors show energy levels that should not be possible. These ships, they match nothing in our records." The humans said they had an ancient fleet. "We thought they were lying." "They were not lying, High Counselor. Watch the images, ship after ship rising from Earth, from the moon, from everywhere." The human ambassador's words echoed in his mind. "We built empires when your ancestors were still learning to use fire." He had laughed at those words. He was not laughing now. Back on Earth stood beside's command chair. She watched the fleet status screens. Every ship reported ready. Every weapon system was active. 50,000 ships waiting for orders. "The entire galaxy can see this," she said. "Every species is watching right now." "Good," replied, "they should see." "What happens next?" Stood from the chair. The fleet remained connected to him, waiting for his thoughts. "We give them their final chance. Tomorrow is the 7th day. If they do not give us justice for my daughter, we will take it ourselves." Stepped forward. "Ambassador, if we attack the Council, millions might die, perhaps billions. Are you prepared for that?" Was quiet for a long moment, then he spoke. "They killed one child, one innocent child, and they laughed. They called her collateral damage and unimportant. They told me to make another child like she was a broken toy to be replaced." His hands made fists at his sides. "Every species in that council watched my daughter die and did nothing. They let their guards shoot a child in the back and then they joked about it. They think human lives have no value. They think we are weak. They think we will accept anything because we are afraid." He looked at the fleet surrounding them. The ships hummed with power, ready to destroy worlds. "I am not afraid anymore, and they should not have made me angry." Saluted, "The fleet awaits your command, sir." "Tomorrow," said, "if they don't answer by tomorrow, we go to war." The countdown continued, 1 day left. The 7th day arrived. Earth waited for a response from the Galaxy Council. Ambassadors from dozens of alien species sent panicked messages. They had seen the ancient fleet. They had run calculations on the energy readings. They understood now that humanity had not been lying. Some begged Earth to show mercy. Some offered to help negotiate. Some simply wished to surrender immediately. But the Galaxy Council itself remained silent. High Counselor refused to answer any communications from Earth. He had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. He had crushed rebellions from species far larger than humanity. He did not bow to threats. He believed that the fleet, no matter how impressive, could be defeated by the combined forces of the Council. He was wrong. When the deadline passed, sent one final message to Station Orion. You chose this. Remember that. Then the ancient fleet moved. Commander led the first wave. She sat in the command chair of the flagship, a massive vessel called the Silent Moon. It was 3 kilometers long, covered in weapons that had no names in modern language. Around her, 10,000 ships flew in perfect formation. All ships report ready, her second-in-command lieutenant announced. Target coordinates locked, jump drives charged. Open a channel to all fleet ships, ordered. When the channel opened, she spoke to her people. Today, we do something our ancestors promised we would never do again. We use these weapons, we bring destruction. I will not lie to you and say this is a happy moment. It is not. We buried a child last week. A little girl named. She wanted to make friends with aliens. She wanted to see the stars, and they killed her for nothing. She paused, her jaw tight. The Council has told us that human lives do not matter, that our children can be murdered without consequence. Today, we prove them wrong, not because we enjoy war, not because we want power, but because if we do not fight now, they will never stop. They will never see us as equals. They will never respect us. She looked at the screens showing her fleet stretching across space. For every human who was told they were unimportant, jump. The fleet vanished from the solar system. They reappeared moments later at the edge of Council space. Immediately, alarms sounded across 100 worlds. The Council's defense forces scrambled to respond. They had been preparing for 7 days. They had assembled the largest fleet in galactic history. Over 2 million ships from every Council species formed a wall between the humans and Station Orion. 2 million against 50,000. The Council commanders felt confident. Even with superior technology, the numbers would surely favor them. The battle began. Ships did not slow down. They flew directly at the Council fleet like arrows toward a target. The enemy opened fire. Thousands of weapons lit up space with deadly energy. The shots hit the ancient fleet's shields and did nothing. Not a scratch, not even a flicker. The ancient human shields absorbed everything the Council could throw at them. Return fire, commanded. Target their largest ships first. The ancient fleet's weapons activated. Beams of golden light shot across space. Each beam hit a Council ship and erased it from existence. Not destroyed, erased. The ships simply vanished, turned into nothing by weapons that worked on principles modern science did not understand. In the first minute, 10,000 Council ships ceased to exist. Panic spread through the enemy fleet. Commanders shouted orders that made no sense. Ships tried to retreat but had nowhere to go. The ancient fleet moved through them like a fire through dry grass. On Station Orion, High Counselor watched the battle on his screens. His 6 eyes were wide with terror. "How is this possible?" he whispered. 2 million ships. "Down to 1.5 million, an aide reported. "No, 1.2, 1 million. The humans are not even slowing down." "What are their losses?" The aide checked the data 3 times. "0, High Counselor. They have lost 0 ships." Could not speak. In all his 300 years, he had never seen anything like this. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy was being wiped out like it was nothing. "Surrender," he suddenly said. "Contact the humans, tell them we surrender." "High Counselor, the other Council members." "I do not care what they think. Surrender now before they reach this station." But it was too late. The Council fleet was scattered, broken, running in every direction. The ancient fleet did not chase all of them. They had a specific target. Flagship arrived at Station Orion. Around her, hundreds of human ships took positions. The station's defense weapons tried to fire, but the ancient fleet destroyed them before they could even charge. High Counselor spoke through all channels so the entire galaxy could hear. "You have one chance. Open your docking bays and surrender. Hand over every guard who killed. Prepare a formal apology for Earth. If you do this, the killing stops here." Inside the station, advisors screamed at each other. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to fight to the death. Some wanted to use the civilians on the station as shields. "Silence them all." "We surrender," he said. "What choice do we have?" The docking bays opened. Human soldiers wearing black armor with old symbols entered Station Orion. They moved through the corridors in perfect silence. Aliens watched them pass with fear in their eyes. These were not the soft, peaceful humans they had mocked. These were something else, something older, something dangerous. Led a team directly to the great chamber, the same room where had given his warning, the same room where the council had laughed at a father's grief. She found the guards who had killed. They were hiding in a storage room, still wearing their uniforms, still carrying their weapons. When they saw the human soldiers, they raised their hands. "Please," one of them said, "we were just following orders. The child ran into a restricted zone. We thought she was a threat." Looked at him. She was 8 years old. She weighed 30 kilograms. She was holding a stuffed tiger toy, and you shot her in the back. "It was a mistake. We're sorry. We'll do anything." You should have been sorry 7 days ago. You should have apologized when her father begged for justice. Instead, you laughed. She ordered her soldiers to take them away. They would face trial on Earth. Not death. That was too easy. They would live long lives in prison, knowing every day that their actions had nearly destroyed the galaxy. In the great chamber, High Counselor waited with the other council leaders. When entered, they all stood. For the first time in their lives, they showed respect to a human. "The war is over," announced. "Earth has no interest in ruling the galaxy. We never did. We just wanted to be left alone, to live in peace. You refused to give us that. You killed a child and laughed about it." She walked toward until she stood directly in front of him. "The council is finished. Not destroyed, finished as it was. There will be a new council. Earth will help build it. But this time all species will be equal. All lives will matter. And anyone who harms an innocent person, human or alien, will face justice." Nodded slowly. "We agree to your terms." "You agree because you have no choice. Remember that. Remember this day. Remember that humans gave you a chance to do the right thing and you chose to laugh. Remember that the next time someone weaker asks you for help." She turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the most powerful beings in the galaxy stood in silence, understanding finally how small they really were. 1 month had passed since the war. The galaxy was still in shock. Every species talked about what had happened. News channels played footage of the battle every day. Scientists studied the ancient fleet's weapons and shields, trying to understand how such technology could exist. Historians searched through old records, looking for any mention of humans from the ancient past. They found more than they expected. Deep in the archives of the oldest species, buried under thousands of years of dust, there were stories. Legends of a species that ruled the stars when the universe was young. They were called the first walkers. They built empires that stretched across entire galaxies. Their power was so great that even the stars obeyed them. But the legend said the first walkers disappeared. They grew tired of power. They became ashamed of what they had done. They chose to sleep, to forget, to start again. The legends were about humans. The galaxy finally understood. On Station Orion, the great chamber had been rebuilt. The old seats of power were removed. The elevated platform where High Counselor once sat like a king was torn down. In its place was a simple round room where every species sat in a circle, equal to each other. This was the new council, not the Galaxy Council anymore. It was called the Alliance of Stars. Every species had one vote. Every voice mattered. And at the center of the room, where everyone could see it, was a memorial. It was a small statue of a little girl holding a stuffed tiger. The memorial was built so that every leader, every ambassador, every representative who entered the room would see her first. They would remember why the old council fell. They would remember the cost of cruelty. They would remember that even the smallest life has value. Stood in front of the memorial. He wore simple clothes now, not his ambassador uniform. He had resigned from his position. He did not want power. He never did. He just wanted his daughter back, and that was something no amount of power could give him. Ambassador. He turned, stood behind him, still in her military uniform. She had become famous across the galaxy, the commander who led the ancient fleet, the woman who brought the council to its knees, but she did not look proud. She looked tired. "I'm not an ambassador anymore," said, "just. To me, you'll always be the ambassador, the man who stood in front of 1,000 aliens and told them the truth." She walked to stand beside him, looking at the memorial. "She would have been proud of you." No, she would have been sad, didn't want war, she wanted friends. She wanted to learn about aliens, to talk to them, to understand them. The war, that was my choice, my anger. "Your justice," corrected, "there's a difference." They stood in silence for a while. Outside the chamber, they could hear the sounds of the new alliance working. Species that had once been enemies now talked peacefully. Trade agreements were being signed. Peace treaties were being created. The war had lasted only a few hours, but its effects would last for generations. "What will you do now?" asked. Reached into his pocket and pulled out the photograph of the same one he had shown the old council, the same one he had held when he gave his warning. It was worn at the edges now, touched too many times by grieving fingers. "I'm going home," he said. "Back to the mountains, back to where is buried. I want to be close to her." "And the fleet, you're still connected to it. You're the only one who can command it fully." Looked at the photograph. "I'll give that power to others. General, you, people I trust. The fleet should protect humanity, not serve one person's grief." "The galaxy is afraid of us now," said quietly. "Every species is terrified of humans. Is that what we wanted?" "No, but maybe fear is the first step toward respect, and maybe respect is the first step toward peace." The doors to the chamber opened. Representatives from dozens of species began entering for the Alliance's first official meeting. They nodded to as they passed. Some bowed. Some simply looked at him with something between fear and gratitude. One alien stopped in front of him. It was the same species as the jellyfish-like creature had admired on her first day at the station. Its body glowed with soft colors. "Human," they said, its voice like music. "We do not have the words to express our sorrow for what happened to your child. Our species did not vote to harm her, but we did not vote to protect her either. We did nothing. That is also a crime." Nodded slowly. "I know, many species feel the same way. We want to do better, all of us. The Alliance is our promise to do better. Will you forgive us someday?" Looked at the memorial of her smiling face carved in stone, her innocent eyes that would never see the universe she dreamed about. "Forgiveness takes time," he said finally. "But hope is immediate. I hope you will do better. I hope all of us will do better. That's why this memorial is here. Not to make you feel guilty, but to remind you that every life matters. Every child matters. If you remember that, if you protect the innocent, if you fight against cruelty wherever you find it, then her death was not meaningless." The changed colors, deep blue, then soft gold. "We will remember forever." After all the representatives took their seats, walked to the center of the room. She would speak first, as the representative of Earth. "Today, the Alliance of Stars begins. We are not here to replace the old council with human rule. We are not here to punish or control. We are here to build something new, something better, something that our children, all of our children, can be proud of." She looked around the room at hundreds of different species, former enemies, former friends, all of them united by a simple truth. They had seen what happens when the strong abuse the weak. They did not want to see it again. "Humans have a saying," continued. "Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. We built this memorial so that no one will forget. A child was killed because she was seen as unimportant, because her species was seen as weak. We must never let that happen again, not to humans, not to any species. The room was silent. Every representative listened. The Alliance has 3 laws. First, all species are equal. Second, all innocent lives are protected. Third, those who harm the innocent will face justice. These are not suggestions, they are promises, and humanity will keep these promises no matter the cost. She paused, letting the words sink in. We have returned our ancient fleet to sleep. Our weapons are hidden again. We do not want to rule. We want to live in peace with all of you. But understand this. If anyone breaks these 3 laws, if anyone harms the innocent and laughs about it, we will wake the fleet again. And next time we will not give warnings. The meeting continued with votes and discussions and agreements, watched for a while from the doorway. Then he turned and walked away. He had done what he came to do. The galaxy had changed. The Alliance would protect the weak. His death had meaning now. He returned to Earth that night. His small house in the mountains was waiting for him. He walked to the cemetery where 2 graves sat side by side, his wife and his daughter. He sat between them as the sun set over the mountains. The same mountains had loved. The same sky she had stared at, dreaming of stars. I did it, he whispered. I changed things. The galaxy will be better now, safer. No other father will feel what I felt. No other child will die like you did. The wind blew softly through the trees. I miss you every day, every moment. You were the best part of me, and even though you're gone, you changed the universe. A little girl who loved tigers and wanted to make friends with aliens. You saved more lives than any soldier ever could. He placed a small flower on her grave. Then he stood and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Alliance was beginning. A new era was starting. And at the center of it all, watching over everyone, was the memory of a child named. The galaxy would never forget her. And neither would he.